Welcome back, everybody. It is Saturday night here on the Paranormal Portal, and I'm so thrilled you guys are here with me. Hope you guys are doing good. Not sure what's going on with the chat on screen. It's strange. I don't know why the actual messages are like there for a split second and then boom, they're gone. So I'll have to look into that between now and the next show, but I do apologize. I don't know why it's being all flaky like this, but we'll get it sorted out, hopefully, eventually. I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me, but that's technology, folks. As always, we got a bunch of things going on here. If you didn't tune in last night and you haven't watched the show from last night, you should check it out. We welcome special guest Hometown Ghost Stories to the show. Jesse, Dave, and Rob were here, and we had a great time. I mean, those guys are just truly, sincerely doing an incredible job, and we're fast becoming friends between the two of us, our two shows, and I really like those guys. I had a good time with them on their show, and I had a great time with them on our show. Well, I had a great time both places. But anyway, if you didn't check that out, definitely check it out. And if you aren't currently following Hometown Ghost Stories, go check them out. Go follow them, because I'm telling you what, the presentation quality of what they're doing over there, the effort they put into every episode is just off the charts. I mean, these guys are really busting their hump, and they're doing amazingly. I'm surprised they haven't outpaced our YouTube channel, but they're well on the way, and I'm sure they will. Not that anything's wrong with this show. I love this show, and I think we have an amazing community, but I'm really, truly impressed with what they're doing over there, and I think they are going to grow very quickly. So check them out if you haven't already, and get subscribed over there at Hometown Ghost Stories on YouTube, and check out their podcast everywhere. So special plug for them once again. I tell you what, there's all kinds of good things going on in the show tonight. I'm really excited about doing the show. It's just you and I again. I don't have any co-host with me tonight. Don's not here. Sheldon is not able to be here tonight. So it's just you and me, and we're going to do great. I mean, it's not a problem. I started out doing the shows alone, and I do them alone all the time anyway. But it's fun when one of the guys are here with me, or when we have guests. But it's also fun just to kick back with all of you guys and talk about all this weirdness. So if you're in that little hissing noise, I had to turn a fan on, man. My studio is cooking. It was warm here today, and not really warm. It was like in about 70, 75-ish. But when you're coming out of winter, 75 feels like a furnace, man. I'm telling you. I was cooking in here, so I was like, I got to turn a fan on. So I apologize if you're hearing a little hissy noise. It's just the fan going, because I'm sticking to my chair. And when you're a fat guy sticking to the chair, that's all kinds of ugly. And I don't personally like it. So anyway, TV and PC chat aren't working, but phone chat is working. Well, you know, the chat is working on YouTube, but generally I like to put it up on the screen as well, just in case I have to edit the episode. If I edit an episode in any way, like yesterday, when I started the episode, I forgot to unmute my own self. And so I'm sitting there just moving my lips away, and I look at the chat and they're like, "You're muted." I'm like, "Oh God," and it was honestly, in that case, I do it anyway. I wish I could just blame it on the fact that we had guests, but we were really jamming on right up to the wire, getting their Skype working and everything. So it was truly a race to get everything going for the actual show. And so I was already like dealing with adrenaline pumping, getting everything ready. So I had to edit it out. But when you edit it out, it does erase the YouTube live chat replay. And I think our chat community is a huge part of what we do here on the shows. And I hate to lose that. So I always like to put it up on the actual video screen itself, because it will preserve it either way. Then it doesn't go anywhere. It's actually a part of the video. So I'm not sure why it's not working now. I don't know if some update happened somewhere. I'm going to have to research it in the next several days when I'm not doing shows. So we'll find out what it is. But, just more of the fun, tender love that the Paranormal Portal brings every day. So we have to get to the news. We got a bunch of news coming up. We're going to get to the Discord question of the week. We're going to get to the cryptid corner, the tail end of the show. We're going to go over a few cool reports over there. And I guess we might as well get to the news. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Paranormal Portal news. And action. Welcome to the Paranormal Portal News. And that as always, you know what I forgot to do? Let me start this up too, because I forgot this. What is the date? It is April 29th. Wow. Time flies, folks. I'm telling you. April 29, 2023. I like the Ghost Radar actually records, all of the stuff that it does. So I keep tallies of it just in case something cool happens. And I can correlate it to some other activity, which is if you're looking at Don's normal camera right now, it's pointed at the K2 meter and the cat toy that does go off. Let me see if I can get it to go off if I bump this table. There we go. So if you see that flashing, it does take an actual wrap on the table for me. It's been sitting there, not going off all for the last hour and a half or so. So if you see that flashing, let me know. It should be up on the screen, but I'm going to be reading articles, so I might be distracted. And point it out to me, because that has been sitting there sometimes for days and not going off. So it's a very rare event when it happens. Is it absolutely paranormal? Well, if the house takes a bump somehow, then no. But if I'm not feeling anything rumbling or anything like that, then it could very well be legit. So let's get to the first news story of the night. Welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk. I'm your anchor, Brent Thomas. And our first news story of the evening is coming from unexplained-mysteries.com. And this story is, it's kind of a twofold story. The first story and then the next one, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But here we go. I don't know how big this one is. Let me close the ad that popped up on there. I should open these through the Brave browser too, really, but all right. In the future, which jobs should be taken over by robots? Which ones? I don't know. The ones nobody wants to do? Anything with sewage, I think, is a good place to start. All right. So what does it say? This is from April 29th, 2023. And the article is, robots are going to be everywhere in the coming years, but there are some jobs that we shouldn't be too quick to give up. Are there some jobs? Well, I think anything with sewage would be a good place to start. I just can't imagine. Of all the jobs, dealing with in close proximity to raw sewage, you'd think would have to be extraordinarily risky and potentially extraordinarily unhealthy. You could contract disease, infections, any kind of horrid conditions
So I think let's start with the robots there, and then we'll work up to work up to other things. But how big is this one? Oh, this is huge. We'll just read a little bit of it. The social separation imposed by the pandemic left us to rely on technology to an extent we might never have imagined, from Teams and Zoom to online banking and vaccine status apps. Now society faces an increasing number of decisions about our relationship with technology. For example, do we want our workforce needs fulfilled by automation, migrant workers, or an increased birth rate? I don't know. Again, that's a great question. Any and all, maybe. In the coming years, we'll also need to balance technological innovation with people's well-being, both in terms of the work they do and the social support they receive. And there's the question of trust. When humans should trust robots and vice versa, is a question. Our trust node team, they got a trust node team. Wow, is researching. What is that? TND is researching as part of the UKRI Trustworthy Autonomous Systems Hub. We want to better understand human-robot interactions based on an individual's propensity to trust others. The type of robot, the nature of the task, this and projects like it could ultimately help inform robot design. It's an important time to discuss what roles we want robots and AI to take in our collective future before decisions are taken that may prove hard to reverse. One way to frame this dialogue is to think about the various roles that robots can fulfill. Oh yeah, this is going to be a long, dry haul, isn't it? We're not going to read anything more. Sure. I mean, with anything, need necessitates function, right? So what kind of jobs do people do that are extraordinarily dangerous, that are extraordinarily hazardous to their health? If we're talking about potentially, nuclear or other hazardous situations that make putting a human in close proximity very dangerous. And I'm not saying these have to be robots that are like self-doing. Maybe they can be driven by people that are really well trained and really articulated arms and hands that can do the functions of a human without a human actually needing to be there. I think start in those areas. And, where maybe it's too hot for people. You'd like die without air conditioned suits or something, or oxygen or something like that. So I don't know, these kind of things, these kind of articles, I think it kind of gets to the problem with a lot of corporate America, where they think they need committees to do anything. It's like, what color should the decorations for the party be? Well, let's have a committee. It's like, why don't you just pick a color and just go with it? Just make choices, but make choices based on need. This isn't, but people get paid big money to sit around tables and think. And it's like, well, let's just start with common sense. What jobs can't people do really well, and what positions may robotics be a real good benefit? I was just, and on a side note, and it's kind of news, but apparently NASA is developing this nano fluid, and it's, if what I'm reading if what I'm reading is legitimate, you could have car engines that repair themselves. In other words, like, for instance, like pistons and things like that may over time wear and get loose and start fouling and other things. Well, there's a fluid developed by NASA that's like a bunch of nanoparticles. One side is sticky and the other side is smooth. And through the time of coursing through an area of high friction and stuff, these particles will settle. The sticky side will stick to the damaged area, and the smooth side will point out. And as a heat from like an engine would go, it will actually fuse the nanoparticles and make it potentially stronger than it was before. And that kind of stuff I think is really cool, because it's almost a technological mimic of our own biology. I mean, our cells work in a lot of the same way. When we have damage, the cells go in and they create scabs or coagulate blood to stop bleeding, and then this healing factor comes in to replace tissues. So it's really exciting. I think that kind of stuff is cool. Now, but again, how much brain power do you have to expend, or how many millions of dollars do you have to consult over, let's talk about robots? Well, just make things that do things people can't do real well, or it makes it extraordinarily dangerous. Let's start there. Easy. Done. I should be on this committee. They should just mail me a check. I'm ready. I'm ready to cash that check. So that's the first one up. Kind of dry. I don't know. It looked a little more interesting on the heading, but once you dig into it, it's another fluff piece of people patting themselves on the back about how they think. Okay, good job. Keep thinking. All right, let's get to the next article. And this ties into our robotic discussion, because in this article, angry woman beats up robot receptionist in Chinese hospital. Unexplained-mysteries.com reports as of today, 29th. And this is the risk. All right, so on I think it was on the news, this company, I think in San Francisco, was trying out robotic delivery drones where they can give an order. I don't know if it was food items or what, I don't remember. But anyway, they put it out on this little robot that has GPS enabled mapping and stuff, and put a destination, and it goes and delivers the package. On the way, it meets a street kids who decide to kick it over, and they disable it. And so how much was that robot? How much did that cost? And what's the end game? Well, I imagine there's going to be a bunch of that happening, because there's a whole bunch of kids out there apparently without much to do except for to be little douchebags. So, sorry. It's just, when you do just wanton destruction of things just to do it, it's part of being a kid. I mean, I did plenty of stupid stuff too. I was a douchebag too when I was little. So I'm not coming from a place of moral high ground here. I mean, kids are idiots. I mean, we were, and maybe we're still idiots, but we're at least more responsible, I hope. But things like this are going to happen all over the place. These robots are going to be running around, and people are going to be, I hate robots. Let's knock it over. And there you go. Look at that robot. If you push that robot over, it's not getting up. It's like it's just going to lay there and air out. All right, so the woman was caught on hospital CCTV camera. Imagine paying that bill after you just beat the snot out of this robot. Robots are starting to replace humans more and more these days. In China, for example, some hospitals have taken to replacing traditional human receptionists with robotic counterparts. While this obviously has its advantages, it can also prove to be problematic, as evidenced by a recent incident in which a woman who had seemingly become frustrated with one of these machines resorted to smashing it about with a large wooden stick in view of everyone else in the lobby. Apparently she didn't get her meds. The bizarre case of Robo Rage, they even got a name for it now, occurred at the affiliated hospital of Zhezhou Medical University in the city of Zhezhou on April 23rd, and it wasn't long before the footage had gone viral. According to local reports, the woman had also been suffering from some sort of mental illness. This is my shocked face. And the hospital security department was forced to call the police in to attend the scene. Exactly what happens to the woman afterwards remains unclear. I'm betting she's probably holding a pickaxe because she can swing. And she's probably chipping rocks up somewhere. I mean, it's tragic. I don't know. I obviously the woman was disturbed. So is that her fault? Well, maybe not. But apparently as many of you know, I used to work in corrections. And there were some people that would come in and we would get warnings like, hey, technology triggers this guy. Do not put him around a computer. It's like, oh, okay, let's not do that. So, there are people that just can't do it or won't do it or, for whatever reason. So they have these, mental issues in that regard. And it's not really their fault. It's just kind of the genetic dice. It doesn't land well for some people. So I don't know. There you go. I'll bet you there'll be a lot more of that happening, though, as these robots are introduced into the workforces. But time will tell. Even though I was watching, what is it, Elysium with Matt Damon? I was watching a clip today. I had watched this movie years ago. And basically the future is all really, really technologically progressive, but almost like a Blade Runner kind of thing. But the Matt Damon's character has a PO, and he goes to see his PO, and it's this robot. that looks like a bad facsimile of a person. And on this robot's face is a bunch of graffiti markered in and stuff, so it's like obviously this thing had been really mistreated for quite a while. But yeah, it's crazy. Maybe the future. These aren't the droids we're looking for, folks, apparently. Or droids. What the hell are droids? I don't know how I did that noise with my mouth. I'm not sure, but you get what you pay for here on the portal. So let's go to the next one. These are not the droids. What the hell are droids? My tongue. Sometimes my tongue doesn't catch up with my mind. Let's go to the next one. This one's kind of been making the news lately, folks. And I don't know what to think about that. I really haven't. I've only seen the headline, so I haven't looked at the article. So this will be my first time hearing about what actually the meat of this is. But from unexplained-mysteries.com, Mexican mayor reveals discovery of alleged goblin remains. Let's see. If that's the case, my cat's been leaving goblins in the litter pan all week. Oh, no. That doesn't look like a goblin. That looks like somebody's dog just got done somewhere. The so-called goblin was found during construction work and has since been paraded on camera by the mayor himself. According to Francisco Mayoral Flores, who presides over Santa Maria Regla, Mexico, the cryptozoological creature was found during construction work at a nearby warehouse. Widely circulated footage shows him presenting the find in a white cardboard box. Probably not the most scientific presentation. Samples have already been taken to determine the scientific explanation, he told Jam Press. Flores himself seems to be certain that the remains are those either of a goblin or a Noggual, a mythological Mesoamerican being that is capable of shape-shifting into the form of an animal. The creature in the video is bizarre, to say the least, like a cross between some sort of decomposing animal and a strangely shaped vegetable. If it had been found in another municipality, it would have not been relevant, he said Flores. But due to the themes of goblins and the... Right behind me, did you see that? That's the ghost radar. God, it sounds like... That's the worst sound. Why couldn't they do like a ding? The creature is in the video is bizarre to say the least. It had been found, but due to the themes of goblins and the mystical here, there is a cultural and social demand to give it importance. So I haven't seen this, but this is from Alcalde de Huasca Exhibe. I guess that's the title, but it's from Revista La Neta MX is the video channel on YouTube. Let's take a look at it. I don't know. I'm going to actually mute it here because it's 1:46. So there he is. There's the mayor and his two guys. And that's, what the hell is that? I hope this is showing up on screen here. Let me show. No, it's really kind of not. Let's look. Enough of the mayor's face. Let's pan down so that people can see. There we go. There it is, folks. Yeah, I mean, look at the ear placement. That is pretty bizarre. I don't know. Huh. Looks like it's got like a rat tail, but look at the ear placement and the size of the cranium. That is unusual. Not that I'm any kind of authority on Mesoamerican creatures and fauna, but apparently it's unusual enough that they looked at it and went, what the hell's this? But look at the size of that head. It does look like a baby's head. Jeez. Very interesting. Do we get any better pictures, or is it just going to be the mayor talking? Here we go again. Let's look at that again. Okay. So, I don't know. It's not the best framing on the video. I'm kind of got it pinched in a little bit here. Let me do this. Move it over a little bit and move it up. See if we can see it a little. Oh, come on. Really? I hate that stuff. Microsoft, just leave it. What the hell? Let's look at it again. I'm going to just go to the relevant part here so you guys can see it a little better. Yeah, what is that? Come on, get out of there. What is this? That's what I don't know. It looks like, is that the lower jaw with some kind of jutting teeth or protrusions, little spikes or something? I mean, it does look like a mummified something, but and it doesn't look like a cat or fox or anything else that might be small in that regard. The ear placement versus the round cranium is unusual. I don't know. Maybe it's, I mean, it's not even like a sloth or anything, is it? Unless the fingers are all broken off and maybe it had longer nails. I don't know. Again, I'm no biologist or scientist in that regard, but it's very unusual. It looks like it has the canid kind of legs. Could be some form of rodents. Could be some form of canid. Could be any number of things, or even like a little kangaroo, because the arms are kind of. Maybe it's. I don't know. Yeah, it's strange. It's very strange, folks. I don't know what this is, but I know it's bizarre. So, what do you think? Is it truly some form of cryptid? Maybe it is. Let's go to the next one here on the News Fest. I don't think we're going to read this one. I don't know. It gets almost political in some of these, and I just don't want to get involved in all that. That one's so. Okay, here comes a good one. This one is having to do kind of with the search for extraterrestrial life. Not just kind of, but definitely having to do with the search for extraterrestrial existence out among the stars. And we're going to cover one more after this that comes from capitalpress.com, dealing with an Oregon man that was attacked by something. But all right, here it is, the second to last article we're going to cover. Unexplained-mysteries.com. We could hear from aliens by 2029, new study claims. So that's literally just 5 years away. I mean, that's a little, well, 6 actually, but as we're cruising through 23, this is going pretty quick. A response to signals sent by some of our own spacecraft could reach Earth before the decade is out, scientists says. The question of whether we're alone in the universe remains one of the biggest philosophical conundrums of our time. And while it seems almost inconceivable that our civilization is alone in the cosmos, the fact still remains that we've not yet seen any evidence to the contrary. That could soon be set to change, however, according to a new study which looked into the possibility that an intelligent extraterrestrial civilization could have sent a message to some of the signals that we have previously sent into deep space. To learn more, scientists at the University of California analyzed signals sent from Earth to the Voyager 1, Voyager 2, Pioneer 10, Pioneer 11, and New Horizon probes to find out how far these might have reached into space and whether they might have been intercepted by any alien worlds. Their findings reveal that the signals sent to Voyager 2, Pioneer 10, Pioneer 11 have already reached at least one distant star system. If someone on the other planet orbiting these stars happened to intercept the signals and send a response, the soonest we would receive a reply would be 2029. Man. Over time, the signals we have sent will reach more and more star systems, increasing the possibility that someone somewhere will pick up on the signal and attempt to reply. Given how unlikely it is that any of these will just happen to be home to a technologically advanced civilization, however, it seems that expecting any sort of response at all is perhaps a little optimistic. Well, why? Why not? I mean, again, this person is obviously coming from the position that, well, there's probably nothing up there, but we're going to send out stuff. Whereas I think the more likely bet would be there's lots of things up there. There's lots of potential life all over the place. Now, what are the odds that they develop technologically in the same way we did, though? And I think that's the conundrum. If we by some spot of chance, perhaps by directed intent or whatever, we ended up with radio signals. That's where our technology went to communicate, sending out radio waves and microwaves and lasers and stuff. So we communicate through these few medium. But what if another technology, another advanced civilization developed in a different way, and they found a different way to send and share information? So if we're not listening for these other ways, then we could already be receiving stuff from the distant galaxies and stars and stuff, but we wouldn't know what it is. It just might be background noise and a whole bunch of cosmic energies, but we wouldn't know how to recognize it because we're expecting that these distant civilizations figured things out in basically the same manner that we did. And maybe you grew in their technology in the same pathway that we grew. And I think that that's a pretty robust hope against the possibility of a maybe infinite number of different ways that their technology could have evolved that is not compatible or would not even be aware of our technology development. So I think that's got to be a consideration because, the sending of radio waves, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's more universal than I think or than I know, and I'm not educated in any manner in this, so I don't mean to speak as if I know something. But I think it's important to think about the possibility that maybe their technology is just developed in different methods, different direction. Maybe they utilize something else. Maybe they use, who knows, radioactive beams of something. I mean, I'm just absolutely fantasizing here. Maybe they utilize quantum mechanics for communication, like entanglements. Maybe they have the ability to communicate via entanglement in real time. And, whereas we're still sending stuff out at near the speed of light, waiting for, 10 or 15 years for something to come back. It's like the difference between telegraph and, your brand new cell phone. It's totally different technologies based on, different idea of communication and methodologies. So if they're sending telegraph, Morse code, and my phone was able to maybe see that something's happening, but what the hell is that? I don't know. Is that just normal, natural background noise, or is there something unique and different about those signals? So I don't know. It seems like a lot of money gets thrown into these very narrow pathways when I think maybe the better bet would be exploring other avenues of technological developments. How else could they communicate if it's not utilizing systems that are compatible with our own or in the same developmental path that we took? Or maybe everybody grows this way. Maybe we're just on the same path countless other civilizations have already been down. I don't know. Anybody's guess, folks, but it's my show and you get my opinions. It's free of charge, mind you. All right, we're going to go to this last article here and then we're going to wrap up the news. This is one from Oregon, as I said, and interestingly enough, it starts out kind of more, I don't know, sounding more mundane. But as the article progresses, you get a little peek into the fact that maybe it was something unusual after all. So the article is from capitalpress.com, and this is South Oregon man wasn't attacked by a wolf, wildlife officials say. It says listen to the article, but I'll just read it to you because I love me some reading, folks. That's what I do here. Let me blow it up so I can actually see the font, though. Whoops, I went way too big. There we go. So this is, again, capitalpress.com. State wildlife officials said August 19th that a man attacked last week in the woods above Foley Lane outside Gold Hill did not encounter a wolf. Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife officials announced late August 19th that DNA evidence from the scene was analyzed by a forensic lab and no wolf DNA was detected. Gold Hill resident Josh Troutman, 40, reported to police and posted on social media April 9th that he was attacked by what he believed was a wolf while he was out with 3 other family members hunting for morel mushrooms in the Cane Creek area out near Gold Hill. ODFW, Department of Fish and Wildlife, I guess, takes serious any report of an animal attack. On Tuesday, April 11th, ODFW was made aware of the victim's Facebook post and began our standard protocol investigating in cooperation with law enforcement. We interviewed the victim and collected his shirt and mushroom bucket from the animal attack, ODFW officials said in a statement. The shirt and swabs from the bucket were sent to forensics lab for DNA testing. The lab detected the DNA profile of a male domestic dog on multiple samples collected from bite marks on the shirts and on the swabs from the bucket the victim used to defend himself. No DNA consistent with originating from a wolf was detected. Troutman said he was in disbelief after receiving the results from ODFW. Troutman voiced frustration that the agency said the animal was not a wolf, but they couldn't tell me what kind of dog it was. I felt like people can do a simple home DNA test on a dog and say, what is my dog exactly? And they can tell you every single strain of every type of dog that is in one dog. So why can't they tell me what tried to kill me, Troutman said. Troutman said he worries for neighbors because the animal that attacked him remains at large. He said neighbors have said they have installed trail cameras to try and to determine what type of animals might be present in the area of the attack. There could very well be a wild pack of dogs up there for all we know. We've seen a few with no collars, nothing like the one that attacked me though. That's for sure, he added. The main thing was I wasn't trying to expose myself to being berated on social media or trying to bash anyone else. I put it out as a warning so no one else gets hurt. They don't know what it is, but whatever it is was able to do some serious damage. Following the attack, Troutman described the animal as the biggest wolf I've ever seen. Troutman fought the animal off by hitting it with a 5-gallon plastic bucket, which he was using to collect morel mushrooms. Family members drove a badly injured Troutman to meet Mercy Flight's ambulance on the side of Blackwell Road. Troutman endured more than 3-hour surgery to repair damage to his left arm and was given a series of rabies shots and antibiotics after regaining consciousness. He posted to social media to warn his neighbors to use caution. So what was it? That's a good point. They could say it was a domestic dog, but why can't they say what kind of domestic dog? And what domestic dog is bigger than any wolf he's ever seen? Now, this is Oregon, so they have pretty good sized wolves over there. I mean, we have them over here as well, but generally speaking, wolves are extraordinarily skittish. They just don't, not as a rule, but very, very rarely do people even see wolves, much less get mauled by one. So what was it? It does seem a bit suspect that they can say, well, we detected domestic canine DNA. What kind? Because it's got to be big and it's got to look like a wolf. So what do you got? German Shepherd? You got some other, maybe exotic breed from overseas. Who knows? But it just seems very strange that that's all they would give the guy. I don't know. I don't like that. I think it does kind of smell of a cover up. But anyway, folks, that's going to wrap up the news. Hope you guys liked it. Hope you enjoyed the journey. Let's get back to the rest of our exciting evening of the Paranormal Portal. Folks, we are back at it here on the Paranormal Portal as we're going to dive into more of the fun you've come to enjoy here on the portal. And I guess we're off to the Discord land for the next segment of our show, which is one that I enjoy pretty sincerely. And I guess we should go here so that you can see the K2 and all that until I push this button, which will embark us on our journey. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paranormal Portal Discord channel where we do the Discord question of the week. Yes, we have a Discord here on the Paranormal Portal if you're not already involved in it. We'd love for you to get involved, and I'm going to post a link here in the YouTube chat. If you want to get involved, I'd love to have you over there. The only dog that could be really big, as in shaggy Irish wolfhound. Yeah, but wolfhounds don't look much like wolves, do they? I mean, my cousins had a wolfhound, and they're huge dogs. They're huge dogs, but didn't look like a wolf. Almost looked like a really big terrier thing. Terrier, not terror. But maybe I'm misremembering. But they have the really fuzzy muzzle and stuff, and shaggy hair on their ears. I don't know. They're not floppy ears, as I recall. They kind of go up. But yeah, I guess it's been a long time since I've seen them. But I would never have confused it with a wolf, I don't think. But maybe if it ran out of the woods trying to bite me, everything looks like a wolf. Who knows? All right, so, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do the Discord question of the week as we dive into yet more of the fun and excitement that you've grown to expect here. So the Discord question of the week is an opportunity for me or for other listeners to suggest questions. Tonight's question is from K-Love, who messaged me today and said, hey, how about this question? I'm like, oh, thank God, because I was just sitting here thinking, oh, yeah, I got to ask a question. So I love when you guys do that. Thank you. Please keep the questions coming, because I do really literally have to sit here sometimes for 20 minutes going, no, that's too close to what I asked before. No, I don't want to ask that, or that doesn't really fit in, or, you know, so I'm always racking my brain to think of a new thing to ask as these questions continue to come out. There's, I guess, constructively speaking, less that I can ask because I don't want it to be redundant. But I do love your guys' responses. Your responses have been spot on, and you've brought up some really good takes that I've never considered. So thank you for that. And yeah, we'll keep doing it. And but keep those questions coming. And you can send them to me via direct message in Discord, or you can email your question. If you're not in the Discord, but you'd still like to see a question asked, email it to me at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. I'd love to get your questions and ask our Discord community what they think. So let's get to the question, as it were. And to do that, we're going to pop over to this screen in the Discord. Let me do this first. Get that off screen. There we go. A little less distracting. I don't need Sheldon's frame tonight. So, all right. Tonight's Discord question of the week for the Saturday show. Thanks again, K-Love. I forgot to write thank you, K-Love, in the question itself. But crop circles are a somewhat controversial topic. Some of these are obviously not legitimate, but some of them seem to be beyond the scope of possibility from a person to accomplish, oftentimes in an incredible brief period of time. These ornate patterns of grains pushed down are oftentimes incredibly intricate and geometrical, and sometimes seem to be containing information for observers. Do you believe these crop circles are largely created by extraterrestrial intelligences, or are these just elaborate hoaxes? So, and I guess we're speaking very specifically about the ones that seem to pop up overnight, and they're enormous. They would take like truly a huge team of people to accomplish in the window of time that they have to do that they have to appear. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible that they're somehow elaborately hoaxed, but there's been some studies that have been done on some of them that seem to suggest that some of these stalks of the grains themselves have erupted cells, like they've been exposed to a directed irradiation that causes the cells in the stem to rupture and lay down. And that they actually have taken Geiger counters out to these sites and found what appears to be significant measurements of irradiation on these grain patterns. So those seem to be unusual and not likely just made by somebody walking on a board pushing down the grain as they go. I'm not saying that they're definitely legitimate, but I'm saying, God, some of them seem like they would be impossible to make so geometrically perfect. So we're speaking very specifically about those, I think, in this question, because some of them are just circles and easily enough accomplished by someone with a board and walking around in concentric growing circles. But some of them are way beyond that. And could they be hoaxed? Maybe, yeah. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying first of all, why? Why expend that much time and energy into making a pattern into somebody's grain? And then second of all, what are you getting out of that? Is it just, hey, that's the one I made, Jim? You know, I mean, really. So, well, let's start out and see what people are saying. So we're going to start with Just Here and There 66, weighing in first saying, like you said, some are hoaxes, but I believe there are some that are done by some other entity, whether they are extraterrestrial or or terrestrial would be my question. Are they here in outer space or both? That's a good take. I mean, because there is the possibility that some of these other beings may just be living here in some manner that we are not capable of perceiving. Maybe there's some kind of, I don't know, what's the word? Tourists from other planets. Maybe they are refugees from another world that went sideways. Who knows? Maybe they're extra dimensional. Who knows? It's anybody's guess, but yeah, good point. Next up, Brenda Joe is weighing in. I think a great deal of them are definitely created by extraterrestrial means. There is no doubt that some are hoaxes. They are both here on Earth, living among us, and living somewhere out there in the great unknown. Yeah, that could definitely be. Again, I think those are great takes. We don't know whether they're beaming this from some distant galaxy or if it's just they're in the neighborhood. I mean, we've got a break video that I do, the second break video when we used to run commercials, and it's showing the orbs going over the grain field and allegedly creating these circular formations in real time. Like they allegedly captured it on film. Now, I'm not saying that's 100% absolutely legitimate, but it's alleged to be. So maybe it is. Next up comes Maggie M10, says, I looked into crop circles a little while back and still have a lot to read, but my understanding is that some of them are unexplainable, with electromagnetic signatures with signs of high strangeness. One study speculates crop circles emit frequency specific to their geometric pattern. The frequency affects individuals' physiology, mind states, levels of consciousness, and the effects of crop circle frequencies are magnified when located on ley lines. Other things. This is very interesting. The little orbs, metallic balls, that have been witnessed are intriguing. I find it difficult to guess what is responsible for all the high strangeness. I'm sure that there are some people out there who have perfected their art of crop circle making. In a documentary I watched, where someone claimed to be responsible for making all of the crop circles at a certain time. In my humble opinion, when they finished, it was not as intricate or precise as some of the more elaborate designs. Yeah, exactly. I think that it is a phenomenon worth investigating to separate the wheat from the chaff. Oh, that's a good one. And study the ones which have the typical high strangeness signatures. And she put a link in here too. If anybody that's in the Discord wants to check out the link, that would be a great opportunity to read a little more. Rachel 101 says, I think some of them are real, also hoaxes. They could be done by extraterrestrials. For what purpose, I don't know. Some idea that they could be caused by ultra-terrestrials, beings who occupy a different dimension in space-time, testing their own version of a hadron collider, and the crop circles could be affected by the energy caused by an experiment. The circles may be the result of a type of Philadelphia experiment using the field which is targeted because it's being used agriculturally. So there's no structures on the land, and who is the farmer going to complain to? It makes me think of cattle mutilation. Whomever is causing that, there's no consequences for the perpetrators. Also, ultra-terrestrials could be entering our dimension to study what is a densely packed life form, wheat. Who knows what aura or genetic energy that densely packed and genetically engineered organisms, the wheat, give off across dimensional planes. Yeah, that's a good take. I mean, sure, as we're screwing with nature and creating hybrids and genetically modified organisms, maybe it does have a energetic cascading effect across the multiverse. I mean, who knows? Good God. It's way out of my pay grade, but it's a great questions. Fourth Color weighs in next saying, yeah, it'd just be like, I'd just like to echo what Rachel and Maggie have said. All solid points. I know there are noticeable differences documented between crop circles made by humans versus stranger ones. If I remember right, the corn stalks are usually broken in the man-made ones where they've used wooden boards to flatten the crop, and the more unexplainable crop circle stalks are always bent with a bit of growth at the bend. I remember watching an old YouTube documentary about crop circles, and they were found circular metallic artifacts buried underneath each circle. I wish I could find that video because I was really compelled. It was really compelling to me. It's either the real deal or it was crazy hoax where they buried these artifacts before the crops grew and then made crop circle over them months later. I must have watched that video 10 years ago and can't find it anywhere. Yeah, it's harder and harder to find those old original videos that are out there. I mean, I think they're probably still out there, but they're just so buried in the, I don't know, influx of channels since those days 10 years ago. K-Love comes in and says, I think some crop circles are fake, just people trying to grab attention to be on the news, or they were paid money to come out like they did to confuse the public. I believe some are too perfect, therefore made by ETs. They might be performing studies on the fields or leaving calling cards as communication to us. Yeah, I mean, there's some that have actually had circles that are like, they have like their binary coding in the circles, and it was almost an answer to the old Voyager disc that was sent out with the Voyager program, where it's had information about us and our race. And then it was like a response came with the same questions, except reversed for them, telling us about them. So, again, who in the hell has that much time that they can go out and stomp out a circular binary pattern of communication along with an image of what looks like a gray alien? I thought that was pretty amazing. Do I know that it's extraterrestrial? No. But again, why? Why waste all that time? You're in the wrong line of work. And K-Love gives us a link to ancient aliens, thousands of mysterious crop circles in the farm fields. And I mean, there's a great example of how geometrically concise they are. If it's just some guys with boards making circles, that's a hell of a use of your time. Jeez. Chucky Danger weighs in next. Certain crop circles are absolutely gorgeous. They're encrypted with so much mathematical esoteric knowledge. When decoded, some of these crop circles contain information on the molecular structure of certain vaccines. Sorry. Others depict star systems. Others translate to things like the speed of light. There's always more that meets the eye with an authentic crop circle, and there is a certain field in Britain that has crop circles show up pretty much annually. Another key distinction is the fact that the stalks of the plants on an authentic crop circle are unbroken and continue to grow, while on a forgery, the plant is broken and dies. Yeah, very true. And last up is Paradox Fossils. I believe they, regardless of who made them, being fake by a human hoaxer or ordeal created by them. Not sure what that sentence means. I believe they, regardless of who made them, being fake by a human hoaxer or ordeal created by them, they are mostly timeline markers, like mile markers on a highway, and they let the timeline keepers time traveling beings know what point in time they are passing through. Oh, that's an interesting idea. I don't know. Again, great ideas, folks. I appreciate your input and I appreciate your thoughts. Once again, thank you, K-Love, for the question. I wouldn't have never thought about this question, so that's why I love your guys' input. Just keep them coming, folks. It would be great. I see what's going on in the general here. See if someone new made it. Someone new come in. Just scrolling. Oh, Joni came in. How you doing, Joni? Thanks for joining. That's outstanding. Appreciate you taking part in our little community. It's growing, though. Our community keeps growing, so thank you so much, Joni. And please, anybody else, we'd love to have you over there. Again, these questions of the week will be coming out. Oh, there's a new one in the question of the week. Did someone else answer? No, I think I got all of them. Unless someone's typing. No, I think we got all of them. So the questions of the week will be happening before every live show. hopefully, if I'm doing my job, I'm getting them out there the day before the live show. We do live shows Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday nights. So ideally, I'll get it out there Tuesday, Thursday, and then Friday right after the show. However, sometimes I get overwhelmed and forget because, essentially, I'm wearing a lot of hats with all this, so I'm doing the best I can. But thank you to Chucky and K-Love and several others of you who keep reminding me, hey, did you get a question for this week or for tonight? And I'm like, oh, God, yeah. So any of your questions would be greatly appreciated. If you have things you're curious about the paranormal, could be Bigfoot, could be Dogman, could be ghosts, could be UFOs, could be strange phenomena, Mandela effect, whatever. Just let me know what your question is. I'll be happy to ask it on your behalf. And we'll talk about what people have to say about it. Again, with any of this stuff, there's no wrong answers. We just don't know. We don't know what's going on with ghosts. We don't know that they were human or they are non-human or they're whatever. We have ideas. We have theories. We don't know if the UFOs come from interstellar space or if they're coming from inner Earth or another plane of reality that we can't access. Who knows? So weigh in. Let us know. Let us know your thoughts on these because every response is just as valid as any other one. Right now, any of your responses are just as valid as Georgie Tsoukalos for Ancient Aliens or anybody from MUFON or whatever. I mean, because we're dealing with unknowns. We just don't know. They just don't know. And there are no experts. So until we know, your ideas are just as valid as anyone else's. So keep them coming. Love everyone's feedback on Discord. Yeah, me too, K-Love. I really do. There's a grain of truth in a crop circle. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, folks. So, again, this has been the Discord question of the week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Boom. All right. There we go. So that was the Discord question of the week. Now I can get this off the screen and turn off that video. Because we done with that. We're done. I'm going to get a drink here. Getting a little dry, folks. We're at about 7:57. I don't know. We should do a little bit of the spookies tonight, right? Again, please let me know what you guys think about utilizing this investigative stuff on the shows. The last thing I really want is to be freaking anybody out or making anybody uncomfortable, but this is something I'm very passionate about, looking into potentials of making contact with the other side, because I think we are just one small aspect of reality. There's an entire universe right around us, not necessarily out to the stars, but right next to us. And there's things going on we can't perceive. So this quest to make contact with these other intelligences, I think, is really exciting. And it's something that I'm going to be doing as much of going forward as I can. Potentially with even Hometown Ghost Stories and with Supernatural Station down in Utah. Maybe we connect with them and do some investigating down in the Uinta Basin area. So we're going to keep digging into this stuff as much as we're capable of. Because we all got questions. None of us really got answers, but we all got questions. Can you please put the link in chat for Discord? Yes, I can, Maggie. I will do so right now again. I did before, but I should still have it. There it is. So again, I just reposted the link for the Discord, and you're welcome to join. I love that one, Eric. All right, so let me pull this up. All right, I got it on airplane mode. Whoops, wrong app. Pulled up the wrong one. All right, here we go. And then we're using Spirit Talker. And again, on the other camera is the K2 meter and is the ghost ball, or the kitty ghost ball. And so this is the app we're using, Spirit Talker. One thing I will say about this, I've always had a curiosity, and I've stated this several times. It says his. Okay. What's his? So I've stated it several times that one thing that occurs to me is, how does a spirit know how to utilize this? How do they know how to generate a response? Because generally speaking, there's a learning curve on everything. Now, I think, again, this being an electronic device, spirits seem to be able to manipulate electronic devices pretty easily in compared to physical, objects. More often you'll have electrical disturbances and hauntings than you will have things moving. And so this is an electronic device. Now, is there some way they can project thoughts into it? I don't know. But I will tell you that as I've been using this, start a GoFundMe for your travel expenses. Oh, that's a good idea, Brenda Joe. I guess I hadn't really thought about that. I guess I'm always hesitant to ask anything of you guys because I know times are tight for all of us, and it's hard to say, hey, here's my hat, put some money in it. I just Jason. How you doing, Jason? Are you Jason? Is this your name? Is your name Jason? Welcome to the show, Jason. If you're indeed here, we'd love for you to move the cat ball over on the other table or come near that skinny device leaning against the towel, and it'll make the colored lights light up so we know you're here. Please do that, Jason, if you're here. But it's hard for me to put up my hat and say, oh, hey, guys, I want to do stuff. Help me. Handouts. So it's kind of a pride thing, but many of you have stepped forward anyway, and through things like Super Chat, through the memberships, and through other gifts through the PayPal. So thank you guys so much. It just really means the world for me, but it's so hard to ask.
Haunted.
That's a good one. Is Jason haunted? Haunted. Is this house haunted? Are you haunting this house? Is that what's going on, Jason? If that is your name, or if you mind if we just call you Jason, because that name came up. Jason, are you haunting this house? Could you please let us know? So, but I appreciate that suggestion, and maybe I'll do it. It's just, I don't know. I know everybody's trying real hard right now to get by. And I think there's a lot of people with their hats out all over the place. And I don't know. I'm just reluctant to put my hat out as well. But several of you have stepped up and done that anyway. So thank you so much. But if any of you care to make donations for us to do traveling and to do investigations, the donate paypal.me link is in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. I'll just say that, or you can buy Teespring t-shirts. There's Teespring link in the description below. That's another way. And supporting the show is just wonderful anyway. So if you're monetarily not able, just like the stream, leave a comment. If you're watching a replay of another episode, those things go a long way into helping the show grow, which as the show grows, so does our ability to do this stuff. So just a couple options, but thank you. I appreciate many of your willingness. I know you all want to help, and that means the world to me. So I don't know.
Wealthy.
It says wealthy. Jason, if you're wealthy, you can donate too. if you're wealthy. But now what I will say is I find it interesting that the more that I've used this app, the more it seems to be relevant what's coming through it. When I first started using it, it was just like gibberish. And sometimes, and it hasn't done it since, which really raises some curiosity in me, is it would glitch out. And if you watch, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago when the first time I unveiled this and started using it, it glitched out. It would just go like A, B, 1, A, 3, 4, and it would just spit out gibberish nonstop, no break. And it would say punctuation and everything. It was like, what the hell's going on? This thing's, and I thought maybe the app was a little unstable, but maybe that was the learning curve happening. Maybe we were observing a learning curve happening where whatever presence may be lingering in this home is figuring it out to learn how to communicate through it. So
Children are playing.
Children are playing. Wonderful. I hope they're having a wonderful time. Where are the children playing? Can you tell me? Are they outside? Are they alive? Are they alive children, or are we dealing with other children? What's going on? If the children are in this house, can you move that little ball on the other table over there? It'll make it flash and we can see. Agatha. How you doing, Agatha? Welcome to the show as well, Agatha. So we got Jason and Agatha. And again, do I know I'm speaking with spirits? No. Until we get other corroborating evidence from either the ghost radar at the same time something spits out here, or this starts spitting out stuff, and then the cat ball will go off, or the K2 meter. That would be ideal, because then we would have corroborating activity, and that certainly solidifies the possibilities. So, how many children are there, Agatha? Or Jason, whoever would like to answer. I don't know.
My lungs.
Your lungs. What about your lungs? What does that have to do with kids playing? Did you have a problem with your lungs? Is that what you're telling me? Is that why you passed away? Did you have breathing problems? Let me know.
Look below.
I did. I don't see anything though. What does that mean? Below what? The desk or the ground? What are we looking? I don't see anything. Again, is that a relevant message? Yeah. I don't know. It seems more random. Doesn't seem like it is directed to what we're doing here. So we'll just keep watching it and seeing. Keep watching and seeing. So are the children below, or are they outside, or what are you telling me, Agatha or Jason? If you're truly here with me, please make that little ball light up. That would mean a lot to verify you're here.
Encounter.
Yeah, if you can encounter that ball and make it flash, or encounter that device, that would help to validate that you are really here with us. I will say about this place that I never feel scared here. Like, I never feel that fear response that's so prevalent in a lot of presences, or in some. I think it's, well, for whatever reason, there are, I don't know, spirits that linger around here. And for whatever reason, I guess it's their own reasons, but it never feels dark. It never feels spooky. And if it does, I certainly will, tend to that. And if I can't, I will talk to people that can. But I never feel at risk, I guess is what I'm saying. But what were those other devices you were using a few days ago? Oh, actually, I'm trying to work on remember the three devices? It was actually a sound bank.
Crying.
You're crying? Oh, I'm sorry. Don't be sad. Don't be sad. I'm happy that you're here trying to communicate with us. So just be happy. If we can communicate, then you're not alone. But that was a build based off the Portal, Steve Huff's design for the Portal device that he makes. And it's based off of his specifications that he gave out in an interview of how somebody could make their own. And so essentially it's a sound bank. You can use a SB7 Spirit Box, the ghost or the sweep of radio signals. You can use that. You can use the random sound banks. You can use several different devices. But it then goes into a noise gate, which trims out a lot of excess noise. Like, especially if you're using the SB7 kind of Spirit Box thing, you get that, and that drives me nuts. So you can adjust the noise gate to kind of wipe out most of that, and yet still be able to hear if voices come through. But it also helps to get rid of any extra noise. But then you add a reverb onto it.
6.
What's 6? What does the number 6 represent? Jason or what was it, Agatha? What does that 6 represent? Can you tell me? So, and then from there, it feeds, after the reverb, it feeds into a speaker. So it's essentially 4 devices working in concert. Now, there is a theory, and I keep trying to say this right, and I hope I'm saying it right, but I think it's called stochastic resonance. And the idea is that spirits can utilize noise fields to create messages of sound. And it's one of the reasons why...
Good.
Good. Okay. What's good exactly, Agatha or Jason? What are you saying is good? I hope you're good. I try to be good. Generally speaking, I think I'm good. But the idea with stochastic resonance is that spirits can utilize the white noise or the sounds with the extra space provided by the reverb to create words or messages. And so that's what the other devices were. It's basically the Huff Portal build, but it's a do-it-yourself version. I was just working on the reverb tonight. It's still not working. Ever since that day when we tried it on the show, it's like it's burned out. So I was trying to disassemble it to see if there's some solder connection that might have worked loose or something, but it's kind of a pain the way that they built it.
Ice.
Ice? No, there's no ice. It was beautiful here today. It's been warm and lovely. I hope you enjoyed the weather too. This is the warmest day all year. 75 degrees today, folks, and sunny and lovely. I actually went outside a couple times. It was, which doesn't happen a lot. No, I'm just kidding. But it was a beautiful day here. There's no ice, Agatha or Jason. It's all warmed up now. So, but is that for sure that they can do that, the stochastic resonance? I don't know, but I'll tell you what. In the years that I've used those devices, I've heard incredible things. And I think that there is merit to what they're doing. There is merit to the idea that they can utilize sounds and create messages. I heard things come through that box that I know for a fact are not part of the databases. I've listened to those databases for hours. You get to understand what are the normal sounds that it generates. Everything that it generates is not a spirit voice. They are just little segments of words, parts of words in different voices, male or female, that were recorded to create fodder for that database. So that's why you can't pay too close of attention to what's a male voice or it's a female voice. It's just whatever comes up. If a spirit can manipulate that to say something, that's what you got to cue in on. A lot of people listen to that and they go, oh, there's a woman speaking. Well, it's a female recorded voice. So
It's Granddad.
it's Granddad. Oh, hi, Granddad. How you doing? It's good to have you here. Thanks for stopping in. I hope you're enjoying the show. It's Granddad. I never heard that before from this. Not that I've got a ton of experience with it, but I don't know how big the database on this thing is either. But do you have a name, Granddad, or do you just go by Granddad? Do you have an actual name? Is your name Jason? Is that you? Or am I speaking to someone else at this point? But again, the key is to find correlations. Like if something happens over here at the same time as something happens over here, or at least in close proximity, and ideally if something happens on the ghost radar as well, then that's three matches, and that's where it becomes incredibly compelling. But I don't know if every spirit can manipulate objects. Is it possible for every spirit to make that little ghost ball go off, the little kiddie ball? I don't know. Maybe. But it doesn't take too much. If I grab... Prepare. I'm prepared. So if you could make something happen, that would be lovely. Oh, I did want to show you guys something. This just arrived in the mail. This is a pendant that was created by Love Rocks Company, which is also featured in our Discord channel in the what is it called again? In the marketplace segment.
Choice.
It says Joyce. Granddad's name is not Joyce. But nice to meet you, Joyce. But it's under crystal and jewelry, and it's. I know K-Love got something from them as well, but it's Love Rocks Company on Etsy, and it's actually one of our listeners' wives' company, and she put this together, and she gave me a whole explanation. It's like it's like a triangle, but it's got several different crystals embedded in it, as well as symbols, which are protective. And so I just love it. It's just beautiful. And thank you so much for sending that over. I appreciate it so much. It's David Barnes' wife who runs the company. It's beautiful stuff. And if you look over here, this is some items K-Love picked up as well from there. And it's just really great stuff. She does amazing things. So definitely check it out on the Discord if you're in there. And that's in the marketplace, the Portal Marketplace section. And also the Teespring link is in there as well. So if you want to check out our Teespring site, that's there. And also, I was just checking this out. Shepherdess does these items, which are available to anybody, and they're like rosaries and stuff, and they're just gorgeous. She does beautiful work as well. So check out all of those. Please support. And if you're in our Discord and you actually have some kind of crafting that you do that you want to make available to the Discord members, feel free to post in the marketplace area. It's not just for mist. M-I-S-T. Okay. Well, there's no mist in this room. I don't know what that means. Can you post a picture of the pendant on Discord? I'd have to actually, yeah, I probably could. I'll have to do some selfies. I don't like doing selfies too much, but I don't even like being in pictures too much, to be honest with you. It's kind of stupid since I'm doing a live show here on YouTube all the time with my face on the screen, but yeah, it's really beautiful. So yeah, I'll post a picture of it so you guys can see. And she sent a nice personalized note and a piece of Palo Santo wood, which I love. Palo Santo wood. It's great for cleansing. It's a beautiful smelling aroma on that too. If I could get Palo Santo scent in a fragrance, man, I'd be buying that. That stuff smells so awesome. So I just wanted to share that as well. Thank you so much to David and his wife for sending that over. That's really cool. I mean, I just love having that on. And it's on with my other necklaces, which each have their own purpose as well. So, but yeah, I'll do that. Beautiful, Brent. I love their rocks. Yeah, I mean, she does. Oh.
Did you hear that?
No, I didn't. I was too busy talking. What happened? What happened? What did you hear? Can you tell me what that means? I'm really hoping we get something really relevant. I don't know that any of this isn't relevant, but I don't know if it is relevant either. So I tend to be very critical of these kind of things just because, I don't know, maybe it's my logic gets in the way sometimes. Sometimes I step on my own logic like, well, what does that mean? What does that mean? So, but when Deb and I were talking the other day, she thought maybe there was responses to the chat. And so if any of these messages make sense to you guys personally, let me know. It's anybody's guess. I mean, does a spirit, is it only cognition of me, or could it be cognition of all of you as well? I don't know. I mean, I don't know for sure. Energy follows intention, and we're all these beacons of energy. We are in the universe. Like, I think if there was, due to maybe quantum mechanics, it would be possible for aliens to know who you are and what you do just because they can cue into your entanglement to the universe. I don't know. So is the same possibly true for these intelligences, these spiritual intelligences? Maybe. So at any rate, just interesting. So I don't know. Are these messages relevant, valid? Maybe. Oh, this is a name.
Mabel.
Mabel. That's an old name. You don't meet people named Mabel too much anymore. How you doing, Mabel? Are you here with us? If you're here with us, could you please approach that device laying on that towel on the table over there? If you get close to it, it won't hurt you, I promise. It should never hurt you. But it will make the lights go up so we can see that you're here, because I can't see you with my eyes or with my intuition. Apparently.
Book.
A book? Yeah, there's lots of good books. What book are you talking about, Mabel? Is there some book that you're interested in? If you could let us know, that would be really appreciated. Essentially, you have the potential to communicate with us now. I don't know how long you may have been sitting in silence trying to reach out to the world of the living, but this is your opportunity. If
I can use my voice.
Excellent. Can you say something that we can hear? Can you say the word hello in a way that we could actually hear it? Or can you use this as your voice? If you could make that ball go flashing, and all you have to do is touch it. If you can touch that little ball next to the towel on that table, it could start flashing, and that would help us to understand whether or not you are actually here. Could you do that, please? This is your opportunity to let the world know that you're here and that you're real. Is that possible? No, apparently not. We'll keep trying. Maybe something will hit or something will happen. Just keep watching, especially the K2 meter. Ideally, if something is close, it should trigger. Like, I don't know if the phone will trigger it or not. Let me just move my phone. It's on airplane mode, so I don't know if it will, but this is a good test. Nope. No reaction on the K2 to my phone. Let me, well, we'll just keep doing this. I'll maybe on another show leave it in. Oh, this is another name.
Edmund.
Hello, Edmund. Are you here? Are you Mabel, Agatha, Joyce, or Jason here? If any of you are actually here with us, could you make that little ball flash so we know that you're here? It's important for us to have that evidence because we can't be sure we're actually communicating with you. So if you could give us that indication, it would help us to understand what is going on here.
He's over there.
Okay, if he's over there, where? Where's there? If he's over there near the ball, can Edmund, can you just touch that little ball and make it flash? If you can just move it a little bit, it could start flashing and let us know that you're present. I realize I may be asking a lot, but I would appreciate if you would do this. Could you please do this, Edmund? If you're truly here. Because, Edmund, I'll be frank with you. I'm not sure if I can believe that the sounds coming from this application are legitimate. And if you could activate that ball, that would help me to understand that I'm actually communicating with you. So please activate that ball or go near that device that's laying on the little towel on that table and make those lights go up. Apparently Edmund can't do that. Okay. It's no worries, Edmund. No problem. We just want to corroborate the evidence that you might be here with us. Or you, Mabel. Or you, Joyce. Or who else was it? Agatha and Jason. If any of you are here, please make that ball light up. Okay. Well, nothing's happening on the activity other than
Witchcraft.
Witchcraft. Okay. Are you a witch? Is that what you're telling me, Mabel? or Agatha or Joyce or any of you? Is there a witch near me? Is that what you're telling me? Again, witchcraft by definition is not a dark practice. It's a natural practice. Now, it can be darkly used. It depends on the intent of the person, but a lot of times we're kind of conditioned with these religious lenses to attribute any of that with darkness and being unholy, but that's really not the case as far as I can tell. And maybe I'm no expert, and I don't pretend to be able to speak with authority for what is the truth for you or not. But again, I've known several witches, and they've all been dear friends. I've never met an evil witch. So, do you have anything else that you would like to say? I'm going to have to stop using this application pretty soon, but I just want to give you one more opportunity.
Queen.
Queen. Okay. So, the Queen of Witchcraft? Maybe? I don't know. Queen of Witchcraft? He's over here. Edmund, I can use my voice. Book, Mabel, did you hear that, Miss Joyce? Prepare, it's Granddad. Ice, good. 6, crying. And then whatever else is on the screen, it's off. I can't reread it. You can't scroll back up. So that's what we got on there so far. Well, Queen, if you can move the ball, that'd be great too. We'd just like to see.
Feet tied.
Feet tied. Huh. So, are we speaking to... Again, this is where the interpretation happens. And it's also one of my pet peeves is to take little fragments like this and try to create a narrative. Now, what could I discern from this? Well, I could say, well, the Queen of Witchcraft was maybe caught and her feet were tied and she was, perhaps taken out. And this is her attempt to communicate with us. That's a huge stretch. How can I logically get to that place? I can't, really. But I see it happen a lot. And, I mean, you might be right, but you might not be. And I think that...
Scratch.
Don't scratch me. I don't like being scratched at all. I like back scratches, but soft and gentle, not the kind that hurt.
Hedge.
And this one says hedge. So now we got 2 activities going on. Scratch and hedge. I mean, the word hedge doesn't mean much. But the fact that this was triggered as well as the ghost radar, that to me feels a little more significant. So maybe we're onto something here. Maybe we're getting to the point of making valid contact. Again, it's what the ghost radar spit out as hedge is interesting because there are hedge witches. So is that a correlation? A hedge witch? Maybe. I find that kind of interesting. But again, until the ghost ball goes off or the K2 meter flashes, that's a big one to me because that would be another level of activity then that we can corroborate with this and the ghost radar. A hedge of these awful blackberry bushes that scratch. Yeah, I've got a hedge of raspberry bushes in my yard, and you should try to go get balls from there when the little man or throws a frisbee under the hedges. Yeah, that's a whole bunch of fun. I can't begin to tell you how much I enjoy that.
You have nightmares.
No, actually, I don't. To be honest with you, I really don't have nightmares. I've had nightmares, but they're incredibly rare for me. So that's not something that I suffer from. Thank goodness. I've not enjoyed the ones I've had, but generally speaking, now there's another one.
Lady.
Okay. Are you a lady? Is that what you're telling me? I appreciate you reaching out and talking to us if you are indeed here. But again, if you could just move that little cat ball. Oh.
Refuse.
Are you refusing to? Okay. Well, you don't need to. I know you're not here to entertain me, but This is just an opportunity for us to hear your voice and to hear your words, as I'm sure you have trouble communicating with the living. So this would be an opportunity. And the reason I ask is not because I want you to entertain everybody or to perform for me, but it's just as a proof, because I don't know if this application is valid that I'm using, that this little device is working. So if you could show me another level of proof, that could really help to authenticate that you are truly here. But I understand if you refuse. I don't mean to be disrespectful.
Teenager.
Yeah, there's no teenagers here. There was one here years ago. But I don't know. I've been here a long time. And yeah, I don't have any teenagers. I mean, I may behave like one. I sometimes behave like a teenager. Don't ask her what her relation to the word. What? Okay, I won't ask that. I don't know.
3 lights.
3 lights. Okay. What do the 3 lights mean?
Aguas calientes.
Again, corroboration. That's really cool. So something triggered this and the ghost radar, which has been largely absolutely quiet for weeks now since I've been utilizing this. So now it's active. There's a bit of activity twice now where both things have detected something. Now, it could just be an energetic thing that triggers this to spit out some words, and it triggers that to spit out words. But are the words relevant? What did it say? Oh my God, I don't even know this word. Aguas calientes? Is that hot water? Is that what it says? Is aguas calientes hot water? Does anybody speak Spanish? I think that means caliente is hot, right? Hot water, yeah. That's interesting. Huh. Okay, I've never seen Spanish come out of the ghost radar before, ladies and gentlemen, so this is a first. I've been using that for well over a decade. That is the first time it's ever spoke Spanish. Are you Hispanic? Is that what's going on? Are you Hispanic? ¿Tú hablas español? Now, if this starts speaking Spanish, I'll be a little bit freaked. Like, well, hey. Ooh.
Sickness took me.
Sickness took me. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah. I know it takes a lot of people. I hope you weren't in any pain or discomfort as you passed from your life. I'm so sorry. Sickness took me. And the ghost radar actually did flag us, apparently. Again, is it evidence? No, but it's a suggestion. But it was right behind me, like right here behind me, like looking over my shoulder. So maybe we have a studio audience.
She's here.
Is she? Okay. Who is she? Can you tell me who she is? Do you have a name? Who is she? So,
Alone.
are you alone? Oh. Well, if you're here, you're not alone. I'm here. And, of course, we're joined by all of our viewers that are watching, so we're not really alone. But I hope you're not alone. I hope that you feel that you're in good company. What would you expect to see on the meter reader thingy potentially, please? Which one, the ghost radar? Or over on the table, the actual K2? What I would expect to see is that if a device or if a EM disturbance gets close to the K2 meter, it should light up. more of those lights instead of just the one green light showing that it's on. It should go up in color all the way to red on the very peak. So it'll go from green to orange, to yellow to orange to red. Yeah, the long box thing. That's called a K2 meter. And they are used to detect electromagnetic anomalies. I don't know if there's anything that'll really trigger it. Maybe the TV would trigger it.
Welsh.
It says Welsh. Huh. Okay. Welsh. What is it? Yeah. I used to know some Welsh phrases, but I can't remember. I was trying to think of a Welsh phrase. I've got a few, but they're very out of context, so it wouldn't be conversational at all. I don't speak Welsh, but the Welsh language has long been attributed as a mystical language or a magical language. So there are several schools of thought that utilize Welsh in the castings of some esoteric practices. So it's not all just Latin like in Hollywood. Huh. Are you Welsh? Is that what you're saying? Are you from Wales?
Stuart.
Hello, Stuart. Can you move that little ball over on the table over there that I'm pointing to? There's a little clear ball. Stuart, if you can move that, I'd appreciate it. Or if any of the others of you that may be here could move it, I would appreciate it. So interestingly enough, twice tonight we've gotten activity on here and also on the ghost radar. Now, perhaps it's just an EM fluctuation from something geomagnetically that triggered both. It doesn't always have to be an intelligent spirit, because this is utilizing several sensors, including barometer, including positioning, which I'm kind of moving it around, so that's less reliable in terms of this. But the ghost radar does utilize the magnetometer, as does this, which, since this is 5G or better, has a bit more robust magnetometer than the one built into the computer, which is, I'm sure it's just 802.11n maybe. So it should be a little bit different wavelength, but the fact that both triggered in very close proximity to each other, I think is very interesting. That to me seems a little more compelling. Again, if we could get activity from all three trees. There's lots of trees up here. This is a very forested area, isn't it? It's very beautiful up here. Do you enjoy trees? I know I do. But yeah, I think it's very interesting. I think we're going to wrap this up and do a cryptid story to close it up for tonight, because we're kind of nearing the end of our journey. We've got about 20 minutes left. So I want to thank you all that came through and maybe talked to us tonight. Thank you so much for visiting. I would ask you to please disperse and to leave the premises if you came in from outside of my home. You should not and cannot stay here, but thank you for your time and for being a part of our journey tonight. I am shutting it off in 10 seconds. If there's any one last message you want to give, please do so now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
Cabinet.
3, 2. Is there something with the cabinet? Okay. I don't know. I'll look into the cabinet. Thank you. 2, 1. Okay. Good night. Okay. So, I don't know. It's very interesting, folks. We got a couple of correlations. A few messages. I don't know. There was hedge, there was witch, there was several names. He's over there, he's here. Things like that. Interestingly enough, the first times that I used it, there was a couple of things that came through that at the time I was just like, what is going on? This is weird. Obviously, I mentioned that it glitched. which was a bit of a problem. But additionally, we got that man is scaring me. What is in your hand? I like the lights. And at the time, I kind of thought, well, that's kind of interesting because there's a lot of lights on in here. A lot of different colored lights doing things just for visually creating what I hope is a good-looking setup for the show. But that hasn't come up since that first and second night. And that was it. So I don't know, just some thoughts, folks. Is it for sure legitimate? I don't know. But this is our journey. This is our journey to understand and maybe discover. And we'll keep the ball on screen as well as the K2 meter. Now that I got it on off of airplane mode, let me just see if that triggers the K2 meter so you can see what should be like if there's a spirit nearby. Really? Thought it would go off. Let me do this. Let me do this. See if I trigger something, there it goes. So that's giving you an idea of what it would be like if something approached it. You see, I had to have my phone right next to it, so it's not. It is sensitive. There's K2's issues that sometimes they can detect even cars starting like a pretty fair distance away. That can create enough of a EM field that'll still trigger that. So you got to be cognizant of those kind of things as well. But if you're in a location that's kind of remote and there's no electricity, you can go up to most outlets and stuff and put the K2 up to it and see that the lights will flash as well. So, and that's generally what they were invented for. They were invented to check for electrical problems, because if you're getting a high EM field, that means like the electrical motors aren't working right, or things like that, or there's faulty wiring in your walls, and that's what those were invented for, is to scan for those things. And how did people apply those? My phone is haunted. Yeah, there you go, John. How did people apply those to paranormal investigating? I don't know, but I think it's based off of the old paranormal investigators or researchers who found that you could walk around with a compass and north would keep moving if there was EM fields around. And so maybe that's why people decided to try K2 meters and the Mel meters, which are developed by the gentleman who lost his daughter, whose name was Melanie, I think, but that's why it's named Mel meter. But his attempt to contact his daughter, and he's got some pretty compelling EVPs that sound just like his daughter, apparently. So very cool stuff. But we're going to hit the cryptid corner, folks. Keep an eye on the ball and on the K2 meter. I'll keep them up on screen so that we don't lose them. But I think we're going to go back to the confessionals. Let's find Dad's doppelganger. No. Here we go. This one's kind of I don't know if it's cryptid or what it is, but this is from the confessionalspodcast.com. Again, Tony Merkel and his wife's site, and Merkel Media, Tony's whole conglomerate of pursuits that he's doing. Just some really exciting stuff he's got going on over there. But this is written confession, the barefoot horror in the cemetery. So it kind of seems fitting. Says, hello, my name is Alexa. I'm 35 years old and I've always been sensitive to the paranormal. And I've attracted things both human and non-human as long as I can remember. I have many stories, and this is not my first experience, but this stands out to me because of how I felt. When I was a kid, about 11 or 12, I used to walk to and from school and I would always take a shortcut through the local cemetery. Oof. One day after school, I was taking my shortcut through the cemetery as usual, and I tripped and fell. Well, as I went to get up, I saw bare feet in front of me, and I immediately felt very uneasy. I stood up, and when I did, I saw what looked like a woman standing in front of me wearing a white sort of nightgown sort of thing that went down to her knees. Well, she was barefoot and had long black hair, and she was looking down at her feet. I felt very unsettled by her, kind of like this, I could be in danger feeling. I don't know if that's the best way to describe the feeling I get. It wasn't like a feeling of immediate danger, more of a be very careful sort of feeling, if it makes sense. I said hello, and she looked up at me, and that was when I noticed her eyes were blood red and looked very reptilian with vertical pupils. Yeah, good God. When she looked at me, it was sort of like she was looking through me. She then spoke and said that I needed to be more careful and that I needed to get home. And then she disappeared. Well, I never saw her again after that. And I have no idea what she was, but I somehow inherently know that she could have easily hurt or killed me if she wanted to, but she didn't. If any of you have any idea of what she could have been, let me know in the comments. Yikes, I don't know. Because it sounds like it was more of an apparition, obviously, if it just disappeared. But the whole reptilian eyes thing is incredibly unusual because, I don't know, I think either we're talking about something extraterrestrial or potentially demonic at that point, but perhaps it's something else. Maybe some other non-human type of entity that just wore that kind of appearance to put the kid at ease. I mean, we just don't know, but that's absolutely horrifying. I think we'll go over to Sasquatch Chronicles. And this one's from April 16th. So it's a little bit ago. We got about 10 minutes. I think I can get through this. It says, I believe my grandpa had seen this thing before, from April 16th. A listener writes, I was about 12 years old, 96, 97. I was at my grandparents' ranch in Hackinson for the summer. We had horses that would go missing from time to time. Usually the fence would be broken. Well, anyway, one day around 5 or 6 p.m., my grandpa said, we're going to go look for missing horses, or a missing horse. We walked about a mile or so into the woods until we found what we were looking for. The horse was dead and had been half eaten. Wolves or coyotes? Question mark. Anyway, we started to walk back towards the ranch when my grandpa put his hand on my chest and told me to stay still. He was staring at something in the trees. I looked up in that direction, and up in the trees was something very dark and large. It had dark brown hair, long arms, almost like an orangutan, and was definitely staring back at us. The eyes were somewhat shining. A cat's eye in the dark would be the closest way to describe it. And it seemed calm at first, staring, and was definitely staring back at us. My grandpa raised his rifle, not sure if he was going to shoot it or if he was just trying to get a better look. And at this point, the creature went ballistic. It started shaking a branch above its head until it snapped off. He threw it down and dropped into the background, like step jump backwards into another branch. It didn't turn around when it jumped, and I remember that it definitely turned its back to us. It just kind of faded into the forest. After that, my grandpa and I started walking back towards our ranch, and along the way, he told me to never say anything to anyone and that we have no idea what we actually saw. He told me that people wouldn't believe me anyway and would just make fun of me and make things difficult. My grandpa was very stoic and wasn't much for being a talker, but I could tell he was definitely shaken up by what he saw. He was very quiet at dinner with my grandma, which is unusual since she was barking at him about the dead horse. Anyway, over time, I convinced myself it was just an escaped monkey or something and never thought any more about it. After I told some people much later in life, around my 20s, it was taken as a lighthearted story and definitely was not believed. My grandpa passed in '07, so there's no way I could ever talk to him about it again, and to his word, we did never talk about it. One last thing that was super weird was that my grandpa had brought a rifle with us that day. He'd never brought one before, and we'd never found a horse dead and eaten before. He said the horse was eaten by wolves or coyotes, but I ran a tractor my whole life up there and never saw wolves that close to our ranch, or any horses half eaten for that matter. I believe my grandpa had seen this thing before, and that's why he started bringing a rifle. Anyway, just figured I'd send this out since I promised her I would. Have a great day. Wow. It's interesting because I don't know, how old did he say he was? Because if Grandpa was expecting, he says I was about 12 years old. And Grandpa still brought this 12-year-old out there with him and the rifle. So, I mean, if he was expecting danger, I mean, maybe he thought the kid was old enough then, because I don't know. I mean, 12 years olds back in, when was this, 96, 97? Well, that's not too different from now, but 12 years olds in the 50s were a whole different kind of 12-year-old than 12 years old now. So maybe he figured it was kind of part of becoming a man. It's going to bring him along. But anyway, absolutely terrifying. But I will tell you what, that's eating a horse, even killing a horse, I think is an incredible thing. What we don't know is how big it was. It said it looked like a monkey, or he doesn't really say it was like 8 feet tall or 9 feet tall. It just says it was up in the tree, had long arms like an orangutan, but how big, we don't know for sure. So that is unusual. I would think that probably, I don't think these things, being as intelligent as we believe they are, would make it a point or a habit of picking out livestock, because I think that they probably have come to understand that when they take sheep or cattle or, any kind of livestock like that, goats, pigs, that people respond and they go looking, and maybe shots are fired. Maybe, some of them are wounded in the process. So I think for them to go after those kind of animals, it's got to be more of a desperation move. Like maybe they're super hungry. And quite honestly, people have done some pretty surprising things when they are incredibly hungry. I mean, people have done, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to go into details, but when hunger hits, all of a sudden, there's only so many options you have. And suddenly you start considering things you maybe never think about, like those pets, they just kind of hang out and eat food. Maybe their food, I'm making a little bit light of that, but I'm just saying, I can't imagine that they actively go after the low hanging fruit like that, because I think they probably understand that we keep them for our own purposes. And when they go missing, we tend to look for them. So, Chucky says, he said in the interview, it was about 6 foot. Okay. And that was the one they saw. We don't know that was it. That's just the one they saw. So that's pretty interesting. I'm assuming this became an episode then, right, Chucky? Or did you listen to that episode? I imagine it probably was. So very curious, very unusual. But great story. And as always, thanks to Wes and Tony both for letting us use their sites here on the Paranormal Portal. So I think these are amazing stories. And I love that both of those sites, and Lon Strickler's sites as well, they have all of these encounter stories where people are seeing something. They don't know exactly all the time what they're seeing, but they've seen some pretty horrifying things up close and personal. Now, I suppose it's like anything else in the paranormal or supernatural. You probably can't believe every story, and you probably should weigh skepticism against everything you read. But if on, let's just say on Lon Strickler's site, if only 5% of the stories that are posted there are legitimate and the rest are just fluff that somebody sent in trying to get some attention, that's still amazing. That is still incredible. Because what is being demonstrated is something that is so far outside of what we know as reality that there's something incredible happening here. People are experiencing incredible things. Same with ghost stories. You can't believe everyone, maybe, but having had several experiences of my own, I mean, I have no evidence to show other than the videoing that I did in the investigations I've been a part of, but personal experiences, I can't show you those, but I can tell you about those and hope that you guys take them as, as
1936.
1936. It was a fine year, 1936. Not sure what was 1936, but thanks for weighing that in. But you kind of have to take things at face value or just discard it at face value because you can't corroborate them. There's no way to weigh evidence versus that unless you can go check out these places and see them. But I think you can safely say that for certain, at least a percentage of these stories are legitimate. And after that, maybe a large percentage of them are, maybe not. But if only a certain percentage are legitimate, because they can't all be wrong. I just don't buy that. I don't believe that many people would come forward and just make up stuff. But if a certain percentage are real, which I think is a fair assessment, even against skeptical measures, it's just the whole mathematic averages. Some of them have to be real, but just mathematically, some of them have to be real. And knowing that I've experienced very real things myself, I think I can say that with quite a bit of confidence. But if that's the case, then there is something absolutely amazing going on in our world that is largely ignored by the established sciences and stuff. Now, I did hear someone talking. Oh, God, where was it? I don't even remember. I'm just reading so much stuff lately. But somebody was talking about scientists that they were, maybe it was in Discord. I don't remember. Maybe it was in a phone call. I don't remember, but they were saying that scientists actually are interested in this stuff, but they can't officially study it because of the ramifications. But several of them study it on their own. And I find that encouraging too, because, educated minds are always a benefit because maybe they can help us come up with new ways of detection or, figure out ways of researching this that can help corroborate the phenomena. But anyway, I will tell you, we're just about out of time, folks. Just got seconds left, but I just want to say I love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day and remember to laugh as much as you can. And I'll be back on Wednesday night for another round.
10 years old.
Oh, God, that was... I thought, wait, that sounds like a kid. It's coming through the setting. Here, hold on. I got to disconnect the network because
Inability to think for
the
oneself.
network is going to break. God, that was creepy.
Fish. And a strong...
I actually got chills. I was like, where's that kid's voice coming from? Oh, yeah. It's the commercials on the network. So, all right, I've got that disconnected. But anyway, love you guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you on Wednesday night, I hope. Remember, if you're brand new, please get subscribed. I'd love to have you stick around and be a part of what we're doing here on the portal. And if you like the video, please give it a like. Please spread the word to other people that you know that like the paranormal. That'd be cool. And I guess it's going to wrap it up for us tonight, folks. So without further ado, good night. Take care. And I'll see you on Wednesday night. Until then, be good.